The people running this, you notice at every university now, it's basically the same. This didn't just magically happen. The Atlantic says, how did it get this way? Why do they have panic attacks if you have a brown paper bag? You know, why do they see racism in the clouds? It was scientifically done. Now, I'm going to shut up, and he's got a lot of points he wants to go over. He's got an initiative that he's going to call for today. You know, Jan Napolitano heads up a bunch of universities. How about she resigns? So we're going to talk about using their own weapons against them. We have the White House praising the protest. Again, this is about global social engineers taking everything over with one standardized culture that is a plastic corporate culture that can be rewritten within a week. And then you're given the new received proper terms. People ask why they're always changing, why it's always getting more extreme, because it's scientific. We're being culturally conquered. Not that the old mix of culture was perfect, but at least it was cultures. This is scientific. I'm going to shut up now and go to the professor, trineday.com. You can find his book and work there. Daryl is taught at the University of California, Davis, for most of his academic career. He holds undergraduate and graduate degrees in political science, popular culture studies, and comparative culture. Hamamoto is the senior ranking professor of the Department of Asian American Studies. He is a recognized authority on U.S. media, popular culture, and sexuality, having published extensively in these areas. Hamamoto is a recipient of the Rockefeller Foundation Research Fellowship at UCLA and is a Fulbright scholar. His current project is a volume that outlines the principles of the New World Order theory. He teaches a class on this and is directed to the current generation of college and university undergraduates in search of alternatives to the dominant foundation-guided corporatist curriculum. Now, that said, that's a mouthful, but that's what this is. And you've got me from the outside telling you what I see. He can tell you from the inside. Good to have you back, my friend. I just played some of those clips. Is it cresting or is it just starting? Is this the beginning of the Maoist-style Red Terror or the Soviet or jackbooted brown shirt Nazi bizarreness? I mean, this is crazy.
It's good to be back, Alex. Good to be back with you and your audience. You know, my perceptions and yours square up almost identically. And I refer to this process as weaponizing the student body. There's a twofold meaning in that. One is that the students are being used as a tool or a weapon against discussion, against dissent, against dissenters, against unpopular, or actually I'm a very popular professor, but they're used as a weapon against professors such as myself who don't go along with the politically correct orthodoxy. And the second meaning of weaponization is that these creatures that we're seeing on these YouTube postings, their bodies have been weaponized. You've talked many times about the sodium fluoride. That's only part of it. According to an environmental scientist by the name of Laurent Murray, these undergraduates are being hit with heavy, concerted, programmed doses of EMF. They're being heavily controlled by social media in general.
That's right. Screen time on record reprograms and brain damages.
It does. In addition to that, we have been subjected to, involuntarily, we've been subjected to experiments such as this famous social contagion experiment that was launched by Facebook. And their team of behavioral and social scientists wrote a paper on it, a social science paper, an academic paper, and they were completely unapologetic about it. So this is like you're saying, it is a program. It's the students are in an Electro-Pharmaceutical Gulag, and it's no accident that whatever campus you go to, it's the same program, it's the same scenario.
Program.
Oh yes, I've had a ringside seat in this neo-Maoist Pol Pot-style Red Guards program that's being run out of academic affairs, and I want to point that out.
And by the way, folks, I just got chills. Yes. He's not just saying that. He went through the Rockefeller Program. This is what they did with the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, and it's what they did in China. I mean,
That's right.
It's crazy to see that our government would do this because we know what the next phases are.
And by the way, I teach the children and grandchildren of refugees from these totalitarian regimes, and that's why they're somewhat resistant to the political correctness that they are being indoctrinated to at the University of California, University of Missouri.
I guess it kind of wakes you up to have your family killed.
It does. So they're at the tipping point, so to speak. They're trying to recruit them aggressively through these mind control regimens, again through the Office of Student Affairs and so-called student community centers, where they go to these little enclaves and reopen their hurts, their little problems with mommy and daddy, and they take them to these isolated retreats, and then they find people there who can take the program a little bit further. And then if you're really, really sleazy, you get to stay behind to attend the after party. And then perhaps after that, maybe you get to party with Janet Napolitano at one of these mansion parties. Who knows?
It's a cult.
It's a cult. It's a mind control cult. It's comes right out of the pages of Jonestown, which again apparently was a U.S. intelligence operation.
Declassified. When it got exposed, they shut it down and had everybody kill themselves.
Absolutely. And several people, including Congressman Leo Ryan, sacrificed their lives in order to expose this dark aspect of our national security university state.
Well, when we put this interview out and write articles about it tomorrow, and it's not rhetoric, I say that neurotically because it's true, university professor exposes government mind control programs on universities, and that's what it is. It's so bold that they would, and please keep getting into the facts and the techniques of how they do it, but it really is bold they'd try this here, and I guess it's working like a charm, except you're fighting back and many others are now fighting back. It may backfire on them. Please keep elaborating.
Well, first of all, let me establish, I've done some research on Chancellor Linda Katehi, who, by the way, is deducting 25% of my salary for the next 5 months. And I call here and now for her immediate resignation as Chancellor of the University of California, Davis, because she is engaged in actions that go counter to the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and to the very principles of academic freedom. So Linda Katehi, stand down. And while you're at it, please take the president of the UC system, Janet Napolitano, with you, and Dean Susan Kaiser, who has stationed a emeritus professor in my classes, both of them. He's attending every single one of my lectures and taking copious notes so that he can pass it to the commissars. So why don't you three resign, leave us alone. We're going to rebuild the University of California without you. The people of the state of California, the American people, will prevail on this issue.
And by the way, I've read about you in student writings and other things. You've got some of the most attended classes. You head up the department. They tried to get rid of you. You're promoting true classical liberalism, and the young men and women love it. Because, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but explain to people how successful you've been, because you're Toto pulling back the curtain, showing the man behind the curtain or the women behind the curtain that are literally engaged in cultural mind control. Because they know these young people aren't going to be able to get jobs now in this economy. They got to screw them up mentally, so they're addled and in a cult and don't know why they have no future. So, I mean, this is really a sabotage of the American mind and a balkanization. But specifically, talk about how popular you are. That's why they're trying to get rid of you.
Well, in all modesty, I was teaching introductory classes of 200 students, and my classes were routinely oversubscribed. And the university is so sleazy, they put one of these controllers into the departmental chair of my department, and he hired somebody specifically, and then she hired 4 student snitches, assistants, to empty out my classes. And she went on social media, Twitter, Facebook, in order to do so. Now, eventually, she got thrown under the bus, and that's a warning to all you snitches out there who think you're going to get over by screwing with people, whether it's me or someone else. But eventually, they're going to roll over on you. So keep that in mind before you attend one of these bogus encampments, these so-called safe spaces, or before you turn your soul over to so-called the Student Community Center. But she got rolled over, and as a result, this new academic year, I'm Mr. Popular again. My classes are already for the next quarter already are oversubscribed unless they pull some dirty tricks on me.